Welcome back to Mind's Quotes, the channel where we dive deep into life-changing wisdom that can transform your entire existence. I'm your host, and today we're exploring one of the most powerful books ever written about personal freedom and happiness. A book that has literally changed millions of lives across the globe. Have you ever wondered why you feel trapped by your own thoughts? Why you constantly judge yourself and others? Why you feel like you're never good enough, no matter what you achieve? Why happiness seems so elusive even when everything in your life appears to be going well? Why you feel like you're living someone else's life instead of your own? Today, we're unpacking The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, a book that has sold over 9 million copies worldwide and has been translated into 46 languages. This isn't just another self-help book gathering dust on your shelf. It's an ancient Toltec wisdom guide that reveals the source of all human suffering and provides for simple yet profound agreements that can set you free from a mental prison you've unknowingly created for yourself. This book has been endorsed by Oprah Winfrey, featured on numerous bestseller lists, and has become a spiritual classic that continues to transform lives decades after its publication. But more importantly, it contains wisdom that's over 1,000 years old, wisdom that has been tested by time and proven to work. Before we dive into this mind-blowing journey that will literally rewire your brain and transform your reality, make sure to subscribe to Mind's Quotes and hit that notification bell, because we consistently bring you the most transformative content that will revolutionize your thinking and change your life forever. We're building a community of conscious individuals who are committed to growth, freedom, and authentic happiness. The Toltec Wisdom Foundation. Let me start by blowing your mind with this fundamental truth that will shake you to your core. Everything you believe about yourself and the world around you is based on agreements you never consciously made. Yes, you heard that right. From the moment you took your first breath, you've been systematically programmed by society, family, school, media, religion, and culture to accept certain beliefs as absolute, unquestionable truth. Don Miguel Ruiz, a Mexican author and spiritualist born into a family of healers, draws from the ancient wisdom of the Toltecs, a pre-Columbian civilization that thrived in central Mexico over 1,000 years ago. The Toltecs weren't just another ancient civilization. They were known as men and women of knowledge, people who had mastered the art of living in complete freedom, happiness, and harmony with themselves and the universe. The Toltecs understood something that modern psychology is just beginning to grasp: that human suffering is not caused by external circumstances, but by the beliefs and agreements we hold in our minds. They developed a sophisticated understanding of consciousness, reality, and the power of belief that was far ahead of its time. But here's the shocking part that will change how you see your entire life. We've all been domesticated just like animals. Think about this carefully. When you train a dog, you use a system of punishment and reward. When a dog follows your commands, you give treats, praise, and affection. When it doesn't comply, you scold, punish, or withdraw your love. Eventually, the dog learns to behave exactly as you want, even when you're not around to supervise. The same exact process happened to you as a child, and it's still happening to you as an adult. Your parents, teachers, religious leaders, and society use approval and disapproval, praise and criticism, acceptance and rejection, love and withdrawal of love to train you. You learned that to receive love, acceptance, and belonging, you had to be good according to their definitions. You had to agree with their beliefs, follow their rules, live up to their expectations, and suppress parts of yourself that didn't fit their mold. This process created what Ruiz calls the Book of Law, a complex set of beliefs, rules, and agreements that now govern your entire life. These aren't laws you chose. They're laws that were imposed on you before you had the wisdom or power to question them. Most of these agreements are based on fear, limitation, and scarcity, and they create a constant inner dialogue of self-judgment, criticism, and doubt. This is why you have that voice in your head that never stops talking, the voice that criticizes everything you do, tells you you're not good enough, compares you to others, and fills you with anxiety about the future and regret about the past. This voice isn't you. It's the voice of your domestication, the voice of all the agreements you made to survive and belong. The power of agreements. Now, here's where it gets really interesting and absolutely life-changing. Every single belief you have about yourself, other people, and the world is simply an agreement. Let that sink in for a moment. You agreed to believe that you're not smart enough, attractive enough, successful enough, or worthy enough. You agreed to believe that life is hard, that you have to struggle to succeed, that happiness is something you have to earn, that love is conditional, that resources are scarce. You agreed to believe that you're too old, too young, too tall, too short, too fat, too thin. You agreed to believe that you don't deserve love, success, or happiness. You agreed to believe that you're not creative, that you're bad with money, that you can't change, that you're stuck with your circumstances. But here's the revolutionary, life-changing truth that will set you free. If you made these agreements, you also have the absolute power to change them. You can break the old agreements that limit, diminish, and imprison you, and create new ones that empower, elevate, and liberate you. This is the essence of personal freedom and the foundation of the 4 agreements. The problem is that most people don't even realize they have this incredible power. They think their beliefs are just the way things are reality or facts. They've been so deeply programmed that they can't see the prison bars of their own limiting beliefs. They think they're victims of their circumstances, their past, their genetics, or their environment. But what if I told you that your reality is completely malleable and that you can reshape it entirely by changing your agreements? What if I told you that you're not a victim of your circumstances, but the creator of your experience? Think about this profound example. 2 people can experience the exact same situation and have completely different reactions, emotions, and outcomes. One person gets rejected for a job and thinks, "I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. There must be something wrong with me." They feel devastated. Their confidence plummets, and they start doubting their abilities. Another person gets rejected for the same job and thinks, "That wasn't the right fit for me. The perfect opportunity is coming. This rejection is protecting me from something that wasn't meant for me." They feel grateful. Their confidence remains intact, and they continue pursuing their goals with enthusiasm. Same situation, same external circumstances, but completely different agreements, which create completely different realities and outcomes. This is the power of agreements in action. This is why the 4 agreements are so incredibly powerful and transformative. They're not just positive thinking, wishful thinking, or motivational fluff. They're a complete rewiring of your belief system that creates a new foundation for how you experience, interpret, and create your life. When you master these 4 agreements, you'll literally transform your entire world from the inside out. The domestication process deep dive. To truly understand the power of the 4 agreements, we need to go deeper into how the domestication process works and how it's still controlling your life today. This understanding is crucial because you can't change what you don't acknowledge, and you can't heal what you don't feel. From the moment you were born, you were completely dependent on the adults around you for survival. Your need for love, attention, food, shelter, and safety made you incredibly vulnerable to conditioning. You learned that certain behaviors, thoughts, and expressions got you love and approval, while others got you criticism, punishment, or the withdrawal of love. As a young child, you were naturally authentic, spontaneous, creative, and joyful. You expressed your emotions freely. You were curious about everything. You lived in the present moment, and you loved yourself unconditionally. But slowly, through the domestication process, you learned to suppress, hide, and judge these natural aspects of yourself. You learned that crying was bad, that anger was unacceptable, that asking too many questions was annoying, that being different was dangerous. You learned to seek approval from others instead of trusting your own inner wisdom. You learned to compare yourself to others instead of celebrating your uniqueness. The most damaging part of this process is that you internalize the voice of your domesticators. You took their judgments, criticisms, and expectations and made them your own. You became your own judge, jury, and executioner. You no longer needed external punishment because you were punishing yourself more harshly than anyone else ever could. This internalized voice, what Ruiz calls a judge, never stops talking. It judges everything you do, say, think, and feel. It compares you to others and finds you lacking. It reminds you of your failures and mistakes. It tells you what you should and shouldn't do. It creates a constant state of anxiety, stress, and dissatisfaction. Working alongside the judge is what Ruiz calls a victim, the part of you that suffers from the judge's constant criticism. The victim feels sorry for itself, blames others, makes excuses, and believes it's powerless to change its circumstances. This judge-victim dynamic creates what Ruiz calls personal hell, a state of constant internal conflict, self-abuse, and suffering that has nothing to do with external circumstances and everything to do with the agreements you've made about yourself and life. First agreement expanded. Be impeccable with your word. The first agreement is absolutely mind-blowing in its simplicity and transformative power. Be impeccable with your word. This might sound simple on the surface, but let me tell you why this single agreement can completely revolutionize your life, your relationships, and your entire reality. Your word is the most powerful creative tool you possess as a human being. It's the force you use to create, to express, to communicate, to think, and most importantly, to shape your reality. When Ruiz says be impeccable, he means without sin. But he's not talking about religious sin. He's talking about anything you do against yourself or against your true nature. So being impeccable with your word means using your word in the direction of truth, love, and empowerment, especially when talking to yourself and about yourself. Here's the shocking, life-changing truth that most people never realize. Your word is pure magic. It has the power to create or destroy, to build up or tear down, to heal or harm, to spread love or spread fear. Every word you speak, every thought you think, every internal dialogue you have is literally casting spells and creating your reality. Most people use their word against themselves constantly and unconsciously. They engage in what Ruiz calls black magic, using their word to curse themselves and others. They say things like, I'm so stupid. I can't do anything right. I'm ugly. I'm a failure. I never get what I want. Life is hard. People can't be trusted. Every time you speak against yourself, you're literally casting a spell of limitation, suffering, and diminishment upon yourself. You're programming your subconscious mind to create evidence for these negative beliefs. You're sending out vibrations that attract more of what you don't want, but it goes much deeper than just self-talk. When you gossip about others, when you spread negativity, when you complain constantly, when you speak words of hatred, judgment, or fear, you're not just affecting others. You're poisoning your own mind, heart, and energy field. You become what you speak. If you constantly speak negatively, you create a negative reality for yourself and everyone around you. Let me give you some practical examples that will blow your mind and show you how to transform your life immediately. Old way versus new way. Mistake at work. Old, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I did that. I'm such an idiot. I'm going to get fired. New, I made a mistake, and that's part of being human. I'm learning and growing. I'll use this experience to do better next time. Physical appearance. Old, I'm so fat and ugly. Nobody could ever love me looking like this. New, I'm grateful for my body and all it does for me. I'm working on loving and caring for myself more each day. Financial situation. Old, I'm so broke. I'll never have enough money. Rich people are greedy and evil. New, I'm learning to manage money better. Abundance is my natural state. I'm open to receiving prosperity in all forms. Relationships. Old, all men/women are the same. I'll never find true love. I'm meant to be alone. New, I'm attracting a loving, healthy relationship. I'm becoming the kind of person I want to attract. Notice how the energy completely shifts? The first examples create shame, limitation, and negative momentum. The second examples create hope, possibility, and positive momentum. Being impeccable with your word also means not taking other people's words personally or allowing them to cast spells on you. When someone says something negative to you or about you, you don't have to agree with it, internalize it, or make it part of your identity. You can simply recognize it as their opinion, their projection, their own limiting beliefs, not a reflection of your worth or truth. This agreement alone can end years of self-abuse, transform your self-image, improve your relationships, and literally change your life circumstances. When you stop using your word to spread poison and instead use it to spread love, truth, and empowerment, you become a force for positive change in the world. Second agreement expanded. Don't take anything personally. The second agreement is perhaps the most liberating concept you'll ever encounter. Don't take anything personally. This agreement has the power to instantly free you from 90% of your emotional suffering, drama, and mental anguish. Let me explain why this is so revolutionary and how it can change your life in ways you never imagined possible. Here's the mind-blowing truth that will set you free. Nothing other people do or say is because of you. It's because of themselves. Everyone lives in their own dream, their own reality, their own movie where they're the main character, director, and scriptwriter. Their opinions, their actions, their words, their behaviors, they're all coming from their own beliefs, their own fears, their own programming, their own wounds, their own level of consciousness. When someone criticizes you, insults you, rejects you, ignores you, or even compliments you, they're not really talking about you. They're talking about themselves. They're projecting their own beliefs, their own insecurities, their own worldview, their own internal state onto you. You just happen to be the screen they're projecting onto at that moment. Think about this scenario that happens to millions of people every day. You're walking down the street, minding your own business, and a stranger yells, "You're ugly," or makes some other hurtful comment. Most people would immediately feel hurt, angry, defensive, or devastated. Their entire day would be ruined by the words of someone they don't even know. But what if I told you that this person's words have absolutely nothing to do with how you look and everything to do with how they feel about themselves and their life? That person is carrying pain, anger, insecurity, and negativity inside them. They're projecting it outward because they don't know how to deal with it, heal it, or transform it. You could be the most beautiful person in the world, and they would still say the same thing because they're not really seeing you. They're seeing their own reflection, their own pain, their own dissatisfaction with life. The same principle applies to compliments. When someone says you're amazing, beautiful, talented, or successful, they're seeing something in you that resonates with their own values, beliefs, and desires. It's still about them and their perception, not about you and your inherent worth. This doesn't mean you should become cold, unfeeling, or disconnected from others. It means you should stop giving other people the power to determine your worth, your mood, your self-image, or your emotional state. You are not responsible for other people's opinions, reactions, or emotional states, and their opinions are not facts about you. Here's a practical exercise that will transform your life. For the next week, every time someone says or does something that would normally trigger an emotional reaction in you, whether positive or negative, pause and ask yourself these questions. 1. What is this person really telling me about themselves? 2. What pain, fear, or belief might be driving their behavior? 3. How is this more about them than about me? 4. What would I think about the situation if I knew it had nothing to do with me? You'll be amazed at how quickly this shifts your perspective and frees you from emotional turmoil, reactivity, and drama. Not taking things personally also applies to positive situations and outcomes. When good things happen to you, don't let it go to your head or make you feel superior to others. When bad things happen, don't let it crush your spirit or make you feel victimized by life. You are not your circumstances, your achievements, or your failures. You are the eternal, unchanging awareness that experiences all of these temporary situations. This agreement will save you from years of unnecessary suffering, conflict, resentment, and drama. It will help you maintain your inner peace, emotional stability, and self-worth regardless of what's happening around you or what other people are saying or doing. It's like having an invisible shield that protects you from other people's emotional chaos while allowing you to remain open, loving, and compassionate. Third agreement expanded. Don't make assumptions. The third agreement is a complete game changer that will revolutionize your relationships and eliminate most of the unnecessary drama, conflict, and suffering in your life. Don't make assumptions. This agreement addresses one of the most destructive and pervasive habits that humans have. Assuming we know what other people are thinking, feeling, intending, or planning to do. We make assumptions about everything. What someone meant by their facial expression, why they didn't return our text message immediately, what they think about us, whether they like us, what they're going to do next, what their silence means, what their words really mean. Here's the shocking truth that will change how you see all your relationships. Most of our assumptions are completely wrong. And even when they happen to be correct, acting on assumptions instead of facts creates unnecessary conflict, misunderstanding, hurt feelings, and suffering. Let me give you some mind-blowing examples of how assumptions destroy relationships and create problems that never actually existed. Example 1. The quiet partner. Your romantic partner comes home from work and seems quieter than usual. Instead of asking how their day was or if everything is okay, you immediately assume they're angry with you. You start mentally reviewing everything you did that day, wondering what you did wrong. You begin acting defensive, cold, or guilty in response to your assumption. This creates tension and confusion for your partner, who is actually just tired from a stressful day and was looking forward to relaxing with you. Soon you're having an argument about something that was never even real. Example 2, the unreturned text. You send a text message to a friend, and they don't respond within a few hours. Instead of considering that they might be busy, their phone might be dead, or they might not have seen the message, you assume they're ignoring you, don't care about you, or are angry with you. You start feeling hurt, rejected, or angry. You might send more messages, become passive-aggressive, or start pulling away from a friendship. Meanwhile, your friend's phone was in their car while they were at work all day, and they had no idea you were upset. Example 3, the work meeting. Your boss asks to see you in their office, and you immediately assume you're in trouble or about to be fired. You spend the entire walk to their office filled with anxiety, mentally preparing your defense or updating your resume. When you arrive, you discover they want to offer you a promotion or congratulate you on a project well done. We make assumptions because we're afraid to ask questions, afraid of looking stupid, afraid of being rejected, afraid of hearing something we don't want to hear, afraid of confrontation, afraid of being vulnerable. But here's the beautiful paradox. By not asking questions and not communicating clearly, we create far worse scenarios than our minds and reality usually is. The solution is elegantly simple but requires courage. Ask questions and communicate clearly. Instead of assuming, get curious. Instead of mind reading, ask for clarification. Instead of guessing, seek understanding. Instead of creating stories, gather facts. Here are some powerful phrases that can transform your relationships. I'm curious about something. When you said /did ______, what did you mean? I want to make sure I understand correctly. Are you saying _______? I notice I'm making up a story about this situation. Can you help me understand what's really happening? I don't want to assume anything. Could you help me understand your perspective? I'm feeling confused about ______. Could we talk about it? This agreement also applies to the assumptions you make about yourself and your own capabilities. You assume you know what you're capable of, what you deserve, what's possible for you, what you're good at, what you're bad at. But most of these assumptions are based on past experiences, outdated information, other people's opinions, and limiting beliefs, not current reality or your true potential. What if you stopped assuming that you're not smart enough, creative enough, or talented enough? What if you stopped assuming that opportunities aren't available to you? What if you stopped assuming that you know how your life is going to turn out? What if you assumed instead that you're capable of amazing things? What if you assumed that people generally have good intentions? What if you assume that challenges are opportunities for growth rather than evidence that life is against you? What if you assume that the universe is conspiring to help you rather than hurt you? Here's a practical strategy that will transform all your relationships. Whenever you catch yourself making an assumption about someone or something, stop and ask yourself, what would I need to know to be certain about this? Then go get that information through honest, open, vulnerable communication. This agreement will save you from creating problems that don't exist, getting upset about things that aren't true, missing opportunities because you assumed they weren't available to you, and destroying relationships because of misunderstandings that could have been easily resolved. When you stop making assumptions, you become present. You start dealing with what is, not what you think might be. This creates space for genuine connection, authentic relationships, clear communication, and true intimacy. Fourth agreement expanded. Always do your best. The fourth and final agreement ties everything together and provides a foundation for lasting transformation and inner peace. Always do your best. This agreement is absolutely brilliant because it eliminates the two most destructive and paralyzing forces in human psychology, regret and self-judgment. Let me explain why this seemingly simple concept is so powerful and how it can free you from a lifetime of internal criticism, perfectionism, and never feeling good enough. First, you must understand that your best is constantly changing and evolving. Your best when you're healthy, rested, energized, and happy is different from your best when you're sick, tired, stressed, or dealing with challenges. Your best on Monday morning after a great weekend is different from your best on Friday evening after a difficult week. Your best when you're 25 is different from your best when you're 45 or 65. Your best also depends on your current level of awareness, knowledge, skills, and emotional maturity. Your best today is different from your best 5 years ago, and it will be different from your best 5 years from now. The key is to always do your best in each moment, given your current circumstances, energy level, knowledge, and capabilities. When you commit to always doing your best, you eliminate regret completely. You can't look back and torture yourself with thoughts like, I should have done more, I could have tried harder, or I didn't give it my all, because you know you gave everything you had in that moment with what you knew and what you had available to you. This agreement also eliminates the need for external validation and approval. When you know you've done your best, other people's opinions, judgments, and criticisms become irrelevant to your self-worth. You don't need anyone else to tell you that you're good enough, successful enough, or worthy enough because you know you gave your all with integrity and authenticity. But here's the deeper magic and transformative power of this agreement. It creates a positive feedback loop that continuously improves your life and expands your potential. When you do your best, you feel good about yourself. When you feel good about yourself, you have more energy, confidence, and motivation. When you have more energy and motivation, your capacity grows and your best gets better. It's an upward spiral of growth, satisfaction, and self-respect. This agreement also prevents you from overdoing it, burning out, or pushing yourself into exhaustion in the name of perfectionism. Some people think doing your best means pushing yourself to the point of collapse, working 80-hour weeks, or never taking breaks. But that's not sustainable, healthy, or actually your best. Your true best includes taking care of yourself, setting healthy boundaries, maintaining balance, and honoring your needs. Doing your best means giving your all within the context of wisdom, self-care, and sustainability. It means being fully present and engaged in whatever you're doing, whether it's work, relationships, parenting, creative projects, or personal growth. This agreement also means taking action, not just thinking, planning, or intending. You can have the best intentions in the world, the most detailed plans, and the greatest dreams, but if you don't act on them consistently, you're not doing your best. This agreement pushes you to move from intention to action, from dreaming to doing, from planning to implementing. Here's how to apply this agreement practically in your daily life. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did I do my best today with what I had available to me? Did I show up fully for the people and activities that mattered? Did I act with integrity and authenticity? Did I take care of myself appropriately? If the answer is yes, celebrate and feel proud, regardless of external outcomes or other people's opinions. If the answer is no, don't judge yourself harshly. Just commit to doing better tomorrow with the lessons you've learned. In challenging situations, ask yourself, what would doing my best look like in this situation? How can I show up fully while still taking care of myself? What would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? When you always do your best, you become unstoppable and unshakable. You're no longer paralyzed by fear of failure, criticism, or imperfection. You're no longer waiting for the perfect moment, circumstances, or opportunity. You're no longer comparing yourself to others or trying to live up to impossible standards. You're just consistently showing up, giving your all, and growing from every experience. Integration and practical application. Now that you understand all 4 agreements deeply, let me share the secrets to making them a permanent, transformative part of your life. These aren't just concepts to understand intellectually or philosophies to admire from a distance. They're practices to embody, live, and breathe every single day. The transformation happens through consistent practice, conscious awareness, and compassionate self-correction. Every day, you'll have hundreds of opportunities to apply these agreements. Every conversation, every thought, every interaction, every challenge, every success is a chance to practice being impeccable with your word, not taking things personally, not making assumptions, and doing your best. Here's your step-by-step integration plan. Week 1 to 2, focus on the first agreement. Start with being impeccable with your word. For 2 weeks, pay close attention to how you speak to yourself and others. Notice when you engage in self-criticism, gossip, or negative talk. Gently redirect yourself toward more loving, truthful, and empowering language. Week 3 to 4, Add the second agreement. Continue practicing impeccable speech while adding the practice of not taking things personally. When someone says or does something that would normally trigger you, pause and remind yourself that it's about them, not you. Week 5 to 6. Incorporate the third agreement. Now add the practice of not making assumptions. Before you react to a situation or create a story about what someone meant, ask questions and seek clarification. Week 7 to 8. Complete with the fourth agreement. Finally, add the practice of always doing your best. At the end of each day, acknowledge your efforts and commitment to growth, regardless of the outcomes. After 8 weeks, practice all 4 simultaneously. Once you've built the foundation, practice all 4 agreements together as a complete system for living. Remember these crucial points. 1. Progress, not perfection. You're not trying to be perfect at these agreements. You're trying to be conscious and consistent. Every time you catch yourself violating an agreement, celebrate the awareness. That's growth. 2. Self-compassion is key. When you make mistakes, and you will, don't judge yourself harshly. That would violate the first agreement. Instead, treat yourself with the same kindness you'd show a good friend who is learning something new. 3. Start small. You don't have to transform your entire life overnight. Start with small interactions and gradually expand your practice to more challenging situations. 4. Find support. Share these agreements with friends, family, or join a community of people who are committed to conscious living. Having support makes the journey easier and more enjoyable. As you practice these agreements consistently, you'll notice miraculous changes in your life. Your relationships will become more authentic, peaceful, and loving. Your self-confidence and self-respect will grow dramatically. Your inner peace will expand, regardless of external circumstances. You'll stop being your own worst enemy and become your own best friend. You'll experience more joy, freedom, and spontaneity. You'll make decisions from love rather than fear. You'll attract more positive people and opportunities into your life. You'll feel more connected to your true self and life purpose. The deeper transformation. The 4 agreements are not just a philosophy or a set of rules. They're a complete way of life that leads to what the Toltecs called personal freedom. This freedom isn't about doing whatever you want. It's about freedom from the limiting beliefs, fears, and agreements that have been controlling your life. When you master these agreements, you'll experience what Ruiz calls a new dream, a dream based on love, truth, and authenticity rather than fear, judgment, and limitation. You'll stop living in the dream that was imposed on you by others and start creating your own dream based on your true nature and highest potential. This transformation affects every area of your life. Your relationship with yourself becomes loving and supportive instead of critical and harsh. Your relationships with others become authentic and peaceful instead of dramatic and conflict-filled. Your relationship with work becomes purposeful and fulfilling instead of stressful and draining. Your relationship with money becomes abundant and flowing instead of scarce and worried. Your relationship with your body becomes appreciative and caring instead of critical and neglectful. Your relationship with life becomes joyful and adventurous instead of fearful and limited. The ultimate goal is to return to your natural state, the state you were in as a young child before you were domesticated. That state of unconditional self-love, natural happiness, authentic expression, and unlimited possibility. The 4 agreements are your roadmap back to that state of being. Remember, you are not broken and don't need to be fixed. You are not lacking and don't need to be completed by someone or something else. You are already whole, complete, and perfect as you are. The 4 agreements simply help you remember this truth and live from this truth. Call to action. That's a wrap on today's comprehensive deep dive into the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. If this content has opened your mind, touched your heart, and given you powerful tools for creating a life of freedom, peace, and authentic happiness, please subscribe to Mind's Quotes right now and hit that notification bell so you never miss our transformative content. Share this video with someone who needs to hear these life-changing truths. And let me know in the comments which of the 4 agreements resonates most deeply with you and how you plan to implement it in your daily life starting today. Remember, you have the absolute power to rewrite your life story by changing your agreements. You are not stuck with the beliefs, patterns, and limitations that were programmed into you. You are not a victim of your past, your circumstances, or your conditioning. You are the conscious creator of your own experience. And these 4 agreements are your tools for creation. The journey of transformation begins with a single step, a single choice, a single moment of awareness. That moment is now. Your new life of freedom and happiness starts today. Keep growing, keep learning, keep practicing, and keep transforming your life one agreement at a time. Until next time, this is Mind's Quotes, reminding you that your mind is your most powerful tool. Use it wisely, use it lovingly, and use it to create the life of your dreams.